Hello, hello, and welcome. This is Crime in Court. My name is Heather, and thank you so much for joining me. I'm happy to have you here. This episode is episode 12 of the Canton Cover-Up, the Commonwealth versus Karen Reed. And I've been doing a series on these. If you haven't watched them all, I suggest you go back and go through them because you might be a little confused at this point. But um, this is kind of this is a case that is intertwined with the Karen Reed case, the Turtleboy Aiden Carney case. So we'll get into who he is, but I just wanted to make sure that you know that there are ties between Karen Reed and Turtleboy, and Turtleboy, as you can see on the bullhorn there on the screen. He is an investigative journalist, and he's been covering this case very extensively. So let's actually, oops, next one, please. All right. Before we get started, I wanted to read you this quote. Um, I really like. I watched so many YouTube creators. I love to give other creators shout outs. And I really, I appreciate their commentary on cases and things like that. And I've been like so immersed in the YouTube true crime world, and I love watching new creators on YouTube. So I'm always gonna like shout out new ones for your um, recommendation, I guess. Anyways, so this as I'm talking about shout outs. Okay, so this is a quote from the Thought Riot podcast. Brendan, who said it the other night on one of their live streams, I think it was. He said it to Malia, who's his co host. They co host this true crime talk show. They basically just banter back and forth about whatever topic they choose for that night. And they get in really deep into thought and theory, and it's a very thought provoking, hence the name Thought Riot podcast. It's very thought provoking, and to look at cases from multiple angles and really, delve into them. So, anyways, without further ado, this is what Brendan said the other night. Quote, our police officers are human beings, meaning that badge doesn't deny you a flaw. It makes your actions that much more serious when lives are on the line. In order to prove that you care, you should be holding your police accountable to make sure that you're safe, your neighbors are safe, your family's safe. And the only way to do this is to look into their investigations and critically break down and or judge their work product. End quote. Thank you, Brendan. That's a great quote, and I love it. He rambles sometimes, and there's always like great nuggets in there. So I grabbed this, and I was like, "This is awesome." So, and it absolutely has to do with what we're talking about with, the Karen Reed case, and just the fact that we have police that are doing things that might be a little shady, perhaps planting evidence, we don't know. But it certainly could appear that way. So we are still, trying to get to the bottom of this case. And we're constantly being told by the Commonwealth one thing, the sky is black. And, we're just supposed to agree and not look for evidence to counter argue that. So I really liked this quote, and I particularly like it because I believe Aiden is a huge threat to the Norfolk District Attorney's Office, the Canton Police, because of all of the publicity that he has been getting, the Karen Reed case, because of, he's been going on court TV, making appearances on there when he wasn't in prison now, but Yeah, so he's been very vocal about this case. He's started the Karen Reed movement and he's the face of it. He's the leader of it, which let's get into that next. Who is Turtle Boy? So Turtle Boy is Aiden Carney. He lives in Massachusetts. He's in a neighboring town of Canton, probably about an hour or 45 minutes away or something. I think I heard him say on one of his streams before. So he is an award-winning journalist and a daily blogger. So he blogs daily about different things. A lot of times it's been about the Canton case, the Karen Reed case, but other times, he does local, government and activism and just trying to get to the truth and the bottom of cases around his neighborhood. So, or locally. So, he's also, like I said, the leader of the Free Karen Reed movement, and he's the face of it. So, this is why he's so much of a threat to the Commonwealth, because he has been getting people riled up and angry about what's been going on. He's been getting people to open their eyes and to see what's been happening right under our noses with our leadership and our organizations that are supposed to be protecting us and serving to the best of their ability, and not being these corrupt a-holes that go and plant evidence. But yeah, so that's his purpose. Like, that's his main thing. That's what he is. If you're not familiar with Turtle Boy, he he may have some unconventional ways of getting his sources or getting to answers. He is not afraid to go up to people and ask them hard questions, which is why he's a threat, because he speaks his mind. He asks the questions that the Commonwealth doesn't want him to be asking, and he's holding them accountable by being out there, by putting this out there on the internet, by making sure that people are aware of this case. He is their biggest threat. So that is why he's sitting behind bars right now, wrongfully imprisoned, mind you, for trying to out basically the people. You can't see my words here. Trying to out the people that basically have imprisoned him. So he's been wrongfully imprisoned by those trying to silence him. They are the ones putting him away, trying to keep him quiet, trying to take away his phone privileges, and we're going to go through a timeline in a minute, but I just wanted you to know that's a background on the case. Not to mention, he is also an entertainer, because I find his streams very entertaining and funny, and he's also a father. He has some young children, which he mentions in his blogs. When he was first arrested, they made sure that they did it in front of his kids. Um, so yeah, they're wonderful people, those Commonwealth. So here are some important dates we're going to go over, and this is actually a picture of Aiden during his first arraignment. And I say first because there's a lot to think about here, a lot to cover. So he was arrested and arraigned on October 11th, 2023, and this was when he what was I going to say? I think I have the wrong PDF open now that I'm looking at it. But anyways, I think it's fine. All right, so sorry. My brain is having a moment, an ADHD moment. Like, wait, was that the right thing to do? I don't know. Okay, backing up. Sorry, arrested and arraigned on October 11th, 2023. He was released on his own recognizance with conditions. And those basically meant stay away orders from the people that he was actually reporting on, who they claim now are witnesses. So he was charged with witness intimidation and 8 charges of witness intimidation, some other misdemeanors and things like that. I can't remember them all, but he had multiple charges on him, but specifically 8 charges of witness intimidation for all the witnesses, quote unquote, that were there that night that claim they didn't see anything, but they're supposed to be witnesses from the night. Who knows? Grand jury indictment then happened. So the Norfolk District Attorney's Office decided they were going to add 16 additional, or I'm sorry, 8 additional charges, and make it a federal charge. And they got, because they moved it to Superior Court now, so it's a grand jury indictment. So that was December 20th. So, the first charges weren't enough to ruin his life because it didn't shut him up. It didn't stop him. They took his laptop, his computer, his everything that he owned to do his business, which was, writing, blogging, being a content creator on YouTube, doing all those things. They took that away from him by the search and seizure of all of his items, which they had no right to go through, and it seems like they did, even without a court order to say that they could, but that's another story. So anyways, they added on 8 more charges and bumped it up to the Superior Court in December, which was actually a big mistake on their part because 2 days later, December 22nd, Aiden was arraigned, and it was in the Superior Court, who have different statutes, different rules that they must abide by, different laws, and they don't have the jurisdiction, apparently, to put more charges on him or stay away orders on him. So actually, the stay away orders were lifted that day. And so the Commonwealth, of course, was not happy with that. So they had to concoct some kind of something to get him behind bars. And I want to point out that Ken Mello on the Superior Court arraignment, he had to tell the judge, "Can you please tell him not to commit a crime?" Like, what? He's not supposed to commit a crime. Like, they wanted some kind of something put in a court order for Aiden not to commit a crime. And then 2 days later, some kind of craziness is concocted behind Aiden's back, and this is proven in the court of law, that it was concocted by Ken Mello, and I believe Brian Tully, who went around and found Aiden's ex-girlfriend and got her to make up a bunch of BS. And it is BS because we know she's a liar. She lied multiple times on the stand. So keeping that in mind, he gets a call to come over to his ex-girlfriend's house on a ruse that she is pregnant and needs to take a pill to end this pregnancy, and wants him there with her. So, against his attorney's advice, he did go there. So, he did end up doing something that put him in a vulnerable position, but it was nothing, he didn't do anything illegal. So, from keeping that in mind, he went over to the ex-girlfriend's house, and she also had all this information. She became a witness in the Karen Reed case, but not until later. So, anyways, she got some kind of subpoena for the grand jury. That's what it was. I couldn't remember exactly. There's so many details. She had the subpoena for a grand jury testimony from her in this case, and so she went over to um, Aiden went over to her house because she gave, she was under duress by getting these papers and she was all scared. And he said he was going to take care of her. He's going to get a lawyer. He was going to do all this stuff. And she was scared and blah, blah, blah. So he went over there to talk to her about it and to be with her for this other thing that she had called him over for. Well, when it was time for him to go, she wouldn't let him go. He had taken notes based on the grand jury um, subpoena that she had received, and she wouldn't let him have his notes. She allowed him to have the note. Like she let him take, look at the subpoena. She talked about it with him and willingly gave it to him. And then took she took the notes, put it down her shirt, I guess, and then wouldn't let him have it. He said he did not go after them. He did not touch her. He did not push her, but whatever. He finally, eventually gets out of the house when she wouldn't let him leave. He recorded a portion of it. It's on his YouTube page. There's so much drama. I don't want to get into the drama of this, but I need to like give you the backstory. So I apologize for the drama. Anyways, so he has an argument with his girlfriend on like the 23rd, 24th. And whoops, that wasn't supposed to say released on his own recognizance. So he has an argument, but he drives home. Like he finally leaves home, and he gets out at 5, like 5 in the morning. He leaves her house, this ex's house, and he hadn't slept all night because she was up all night arguing with him, which is what he posted to his Facebook page. And then he got into a car accident on his way home because he was so tired while he was driving. He fell asleep and he got into a car accident. And then shortly after that, new charges were added for temporary restraining order, some DV there for some assault and battery, and an additional witness intimidation because they said that the accuser is now a witness in the Reed case. And this was all issued like at 11 p.m. at night. So they actually had some kind of, well, we found out in the testimony too that, well, let's get to that. Okay. So all these new charges come out on like the 24th, so Christmas Eve, and a bolo is issued, and Turtleboy is arrested, but he does turn himself in this time, so they don't have to take him from from the bus stop of his kids. So around this time, he is, Christmas. He misses Christmas with his kids. He doesn't get to go, spend time with him. His kids are, I'm sure, are heartbroken that they're not there that his dad's not there with them. They did it on purpose to hurt him, but it hurts his kids. So what kind of monsters do that? I just want to add. So anyways, there was an arraignment December 27th. They had every intention to put him away before Christmas, is my opinion. And he thought so too. Anyways, so an arraignment for these new charges then took place December 27th, and bail was revoked. The stupid judge in this case does not realize that Turtleboy is being railroaded and set up. So in the arraignment, bail is revoked. He goes back to jail. He's been sitting in jail since Christmas. He next has a hearing. Let me hide myself again. He next has a hearing for the restraining order against his ex. And this time, so much information came out where it was proven that she was lying. It came out that she faked the pregnancy, the ultrasound picture. it had been dated months prior, and Aiden had figured that out from a picture that she had sent him. And what else? I'm trying to remember all of this. It was just a nutty day hearing all the craziness. She lied on the stand about not having her phone because there were texts that would have kind of incriminated her, and she lied about having her phone. But then later her attorney, after a break, said something about, you were just talking to your kids on your phone downstairs, weren't you? So she lied about that. She admitted on the stand that Jennifer McCabe, is a babysitter for her kids. She's got like four or five kids, I think four. And she is friends with Jennifer McCabe, which really makes you wonder, was she dating Aiden just to turn, to turn his information out and to feed the Commonwealth with info, feed the Alberts and the McCabe's with information. And on top of that, she also, Jennifer McCabe, I think, put, if I'm remembering right, Jennifer McCabe put the Aiden's ex, in touch with Ken Mello directly so that she could report him for DV charges and get a temporary restraining order and become a witness, probably too. So, anyways, bail was revoked. He was taken back. We heard at the hearing so many multiple lies from her. But even despite that, the judge issued a 1 year no contact with the ex, which Aiden's like, hell yeah, I don't want to talk to her now. Forget her. So I believe she totally lied for the purposes of getting him in trouble. She set him up. Yeah. So and the assault apparently on her was that she fell on a couch. She was that they were arguing back and forth or something, and he got close to her and she fell into the couch. So that was like insult. That was the assault that he's being charged with. But anyways, and I'm not downplaying assault. I myself, hold on, let me get my screen back up. I myself am a survivor of domestic violence. So I am not minimizing if there was any kind of violence, but based on the way that I have been following Aiden and his reporting, I find him very credible. And I find the woman that was this ex, I do not find her credible. So, and to top that off, the entire video that he posted, it was like a 20-minute video of her screaming at him the entire time. So he's trying to leave. He's trying to get away from her, and she won't let him. She's like, no, you're not leaving. So who's the aggressor there? So I'm just saying. All right. Anyways, let's move on. I don't know. I wasn't there. Anyways, more important dates to know. And this is bringing us like right to current date. So just recently, January 24th of this year, Ken Mello, sorry, that was wrong there too. Okay, so Karen Reed's, I did not proof this. Karen Reed's cell phones were seized on January 24th. There was a warrant, but it was sealed at the time on the 24th for obtaining Karen's phone. And the intention there, I believe, was that Ken Mello, because 2 days later there's a hearing regarding Carney's phone calls. And a big thing that came up was someone on the legal team shouldn't have been told they were a lawyer. It was an accident, but like Ken Mello wanted sanctions or something for Aiden's lawyer accidentally labeling someone an attorney when they were like a paralegal or something. They're still part of the legal team. So I don't understand what the big deal was, but it was a big deal for phone calls. And then they were thinking that Aiden's getting out all this information to people, and he doesn't. They main thing is they don't like that Aiden's still talking from prison. He's still talking from jail. He's telling his story and the truth about the Commonwealth, and they don't like it. So on the 26th, there was a hearing, and Ken Mello tried to get Aiden's phone privileges revoked and restricted to only his children and his legal team. And he wanted a third party monitor, someone to monitor the legal team, the his attorney client calls, which are privileged. The nerve of this guy to ask for that was denied. Or, well, no, I don't think it has even been ruled on, because she took everything under advisement except for a couple things. So I don't know. There's so many details, but I'm trying to give you like the highlights here before we get into the um, indictment papers, which we're going to read in a second. And buckle up, it's going to be a ride. All right, so the search warrant was then unsealed January 31st of 2024, this year, and it is a 31-page search warrant trying to connect Reed and Carney in a conspiracy to intimidate witnesses in this case and to potentially taint the jury pool. Ken Mello thinks that there is a huge, I'm just going to move myself up here for now. There's a huge, or there's the theory that Ken Mello has put out there that there's this huge campaign against the Commonwealth, that, Aiden and Karen now are, they've been secretly talking, and she's leaking the secret information. Like, it's not secret. Any information that she's leaking about the case, it's not secret unless it's under a gag order. It's not confidential unless it's under a gag order. She has every right to disseminate it to contacts that she trusts. But that's probably broken now. Like, that whole thing is, up in the air now because he's in prison and she's, well, the feds are coming anyway, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, so the Commonwealth actually thinks that they have this huge conspiracy to taint the jury pool and get everyone against the Commonwealth's theory, which, so what? So what if they had talked and they were giving information out? So what if they're leaking information that's the truth? It's in documents. We have verified, they all bring receipts. So Aiden comes with receipts, and he's been getting a lot of information from inside sources, and Karen might have been one of those inside sources this whole time and we didn't know it. And that's okay. But I don't know what the hell the Commonwealth is trying to imply by them talking to one another, because it really doesn't effing matter. So with that, that's where we're at right now. I wanted to go back, though, a little bit and read something here. This was one of his blog posts. So what I did, I actually went through a lot of his blog posts, and I turned them into PDFs so we could go through them and analyze some of the things, because I think what better way to get his story than through his own words. And we're going to do that. We're going to look at the Commonwealth's charging documents as well as Aiden's words. And if need be, we can go and look at the origin of where all these words are coming from, because they have twisted and turned many of the things that Aiden has said on his show or in his blog. They've twisted and turned it to make it appear that he's some kind of nefarious, horrible person when all he wants is the truth and he's trying to get to the truth and he's doing his job as an investigative reporter. So, so this is even before he was charged. So we're looking, this actually was the day before he was charged. Wow, look at that. I didn't even realize. But this is behind the scenes. Um, People, including, I think, Trooper Proctor, Jen McCabe, and Colin Albert, all went and got, I think that those are the three. I'm not exactly sure, but I think those are the three that went and got, um, or they tried to get a restraining order against Aiden in civil court, I guess, to try to get him to stop talking because every time he talks, he's getting closer and closer to the truth, and it scares them, obviously. And they didn't like it, so they tried to get this restraining order on him, and all each time it was denied in court because everything that he did was under the First Amendment. So we're going to talk about that real quick. This article came out right before he was right before he was arrested, actually. So Canton Cover-Up Part 179. He's been going for a while talking about the Canton Cover-Up. So two Stoughton District Court judges have ruled that Michael Morrissey, Helena Rafferty don't understand how the First Amendment works. So scrolling down. There's so many pop-up ads, and that's why I went through and I took screenshots because I felt it necessary. Um, so for the second time, this is all in Aiden's words. This is Aiden's blog. For the second time in 3 months, a judge in Stoughton District Court has denied even scheduling a harassment prevention order hearing for me and, quote, witnesses in the Karen Reed case who believe that they're being harassed because I'm asking them uncomfortable questions in public. If you missed the court audio from Chris Albert's latest failed, okay, so Chris Albert too, latest failed attempt on September 28th. It's in this blog here. It was quite funny. Because everything that everything that he said or quoted that Aiden said, it was like the judge was like, no, it's First Amendment. Sorry, I can't do anything about that. However, the two highest ranking law enforcement officials in Canton, Chief Helena Rafferty and District Attorney Michael Morrissey, both argued publicly that my actions were illegal. Not only were they wrong, their allegations against me were so baseless that two judges decided that the claims against me didn't even necessitate two-party hearings. So the judges were like, this doesn't qualify, get it off my desk immediately. So not only was it not against the law, it wasn't even grounds for an order. On August 8th, at a board selectmen meeting, Helena Rafferty stated that our peaceful rolling rally on July 22nd violated the witness intimidation law. Quote, an event that I believe under statute 26813A could most possibly be deemed an illegal act, end quote. So according to the statute that she's referring to, picketing court, judge, juror, witness, or court officer says the following. All right, so here it is. Can I make this bigger? Yes, I can do so. Wrong way. Probably better for your eyes there, sorry. All right, so section 13A. Whoever with the intent of interfering with, obstructing, or impeding the administration of justice, or with the intent of influencing any judge, juror, witness, or court officer in the discharge of his duty, pickets, or parades in or near a building housing a court of the Commonwealth, or in or near a building or residence occupied or used by such judge, juror, witness, or court officer shall be punished by a fine of not more than $5,000 or by imprisonment for not more than 1 year or both. So they're trying to get Turtleboy for a year and or $5,000 or both. I'm sure trying to get him the maximum punishment because he helped plan or lead, or he at least streamed his live stream while he was doing a rolling rally, which was a peaceful rolling rally, which they did. Um, him and his turtle riders, as he calls them, some of the people, well, it's not just turtle riders, it's people in the Karen Reed movement. They went and they drove around the city of Canton and they picketed certain areas. I'm sure they went to I know they went to the McCabe's house. They went to 34 Fairview. So they went to different places on their list and they did, just a rolling rally, a peaceful rolling rally, got out of the cars, said a few words, showed up, made a statement, and then, went on their way. So that's what their rolling rally was. But apparently, this peaceful protest was against this statute that Helena Rafferty is arguing in a board meeting, a select board meeting. Um, so back to Aiden's words. We did not seek to influence or prevent Jen McCabe or any other witness or from testifying. We sought comment from them and encouraged them to speak more or not less. The only people impeding justice are Brian Albert and Jen McCabe, who refused to hand over their cell phones despite claiming to have nothing to hide on their devices. So at this time, I guess they still had not handed over their devices. I don't even know if they're still arguing over that, are they? We got Jen's. All right, so she claimed that Jen McCabe and Chris Albert were being bullied under the guise of the First Amendment and that we should not permit peaceful protest because it's a slippery slope when you let free people be free. Yeah. Well, that was Aiden's words, but I loved it. All right, so I don't want to get into Michael Morrissey's whole pre-recorded statement. So that's a good transition into the statement of facts that we're going to read from the Commonwealth in just 1 second. Before we do that, I had just a couple quotes that I wanted to highlight here in another document. We're not going to read this whole article, but after the charging documents came out, Aiden came out with, and he was released. He was out on his own recognizance with conditions, with the stay away orders. He came out and he did this blog post on October 16th, basically stating that all the charging documents were quotes. They took several quotes out of context, and even when I was listening to Mello read them out, like, I knew that they were out of context because I watch Turtleboy's show and I know that that's not the intent behind how these things came about. But when you put it all in one document, it makes him sound kind of bad. So I get it, but these are all out of context statements, and a lot of times he's quoting things that were said on the other side, on the Commonwealth side. So we'll see. I know the Glairer, if you really want to do a deep dive, I think he does a deep dive and looks at all the episodes, or at least some of the episodes in the Statement of Facts throughout one of his live streams. Okay, so starting with the first quote I had highlighted here, Aiden says, "The people who charged and arrested me are the same people I've accused in several blogs of being corrupt, including Lieutenant Brian Tully, Sergeant Yuri Buchanan, and Lieutenant John Fanning, all of whom were present at the raid at my house on Wednesday, October 11th. The people who I have been ordered to have no contact with are the subjects of my reporting for the last 6 months." So tell me how that makes sense. How is that not a conflict of interest? You morons. Sorry. Anyways, another portion of his article here, he states, I have made it clear that my reporting, question asking, and activism are not done to impede, obstruct, delay, or interfere with the investigation into O'Keefe's death. And he says that many times. He says it throughout all of his streams. He says it repeatedly now after this because apparently he needs to make it more widely known that he just wants justice for John O'Keefe and for Karen Reed and now for himself in the Canton Nine. It's just blown up. So, all right. So he asks relevant questions about their actions the night of John O'Keefe's ending. He wants the people in this, the people who are quote unquote witnesses, he wants them to testify. He's not telling them not to. He's not impeding justice. He's not obstructing or delaying justice. He is saying, go ahead, testify, but please, when you do, tell them the truth. That's all he's saying. That's why this infuriates me so much. All right, so he wants them to speak the truth, and this is the opposite. The opposite of witness intimidation, people, just so you know. Going on, he says the charging documents, it's a 70-page long document, and 90% of the quote-unquote evidence are quotes from the Turtleboy live show on YouTube and Rumble. It would have taken them hundreds of hours to watch every minute of video, which they clearly did, to go pick and piece apart the sentences that made him look bad without context. That's what they did. So keep in mind that on August 10th, Canton DPW, so Department Public Works plow driver Lucky Loughran, was interviewed by Trooper Proctor and Sergeant Buchanan, and he told them that there was a Ford Edge parked where John O'Keefe's body would be discovered 3 hours later. He told them that there was no body on the lawn at 2:30 a.m., just 30 minutes prior. So whoever was driving that Ford Edge either participated in the unaliving of the Boston police officer John O'Keefe, or he knows who dragged the body there at 34 Fairview Road and planted him there to succumb to his injuries in the cold during a blizzard. So I wanted to use that to preface before we go in to the charging documents, because I don't want you to start looking at them and thinking like, oh man, this guy really is awful if you don't know anything about Turtleboy. He definitely is harsh in the way that he speaks. Like he's abrupt, he's kind of gruff. He might not be for everyone, but he does speak the truth and he speaks passionately about it. And he comes with verified receipts. So, just saying. Let me make this a little bit bigger. All right. Now, let me move me up and out of the way. All right, so intimidation of a witness, violation of MGL Chapter 268, Section 13B. So very shortly after he wrote that article about that particular statute, he's being charged with this. These are, the statements of fact. This is what the Commonwealth is putting forward as to their case against Aiden. So, on the morning of January 29th, 2022, John O'Keefe was found unresponsive on the front lawn of 34 Fairview Road, Canton, MA. He was transported to Good Samaritan Hospital where he was pronounced deceased. The officer of the chief medical examiner determined the cause of his ending was blunt force to the head and hypothermia. Evidence was presented to the Norfolk grand jury that indicated the night of the 28th, Reed and O'Keefe were at two Canton restaurants, C.F. McCarthy and The Waterfall. where they met friends. After the waterfall closed at shortly after midnight, Reed and O'Keefe were invited to 34 Fairview Road, Canton. Witnesses stated that Reed and O'Keefe did not enter 34 Fairview Road. The Norfolk grand jury indicated now it's indicted. Okay, sorry. It's rough reading words out loud to people. They make more sense in your head when you're reading them quietly. The Norfolk grand jury indicted Karen Reed on second-degree unaliving motor vehicle manslaughter while OUI, under the influence, and leaving the scene of a motor vehicle crash causing his ending. The indictment alleges Reed struck O'Keefe with her motor vehicle and left the scene. The case is currently pending in Norfolk Superior Court. Number 2, the lead investigator for the above investigation is Trooper Michael Proctor of the Massachusetts State Police, assigned to the Norfolk State Police Detective Unit. So first of all, I just wanted to point out that anyone who thinks that these two are not related, that these cases, Turtleboy and Karen Reed, aren't related, I mean, they start their whole thing with talking about John O'Keefe and Karen. We haven't even touched Turtleboy. Who's Turtleboy yet? We haven't talked about it. We're still talking about background information. So it's obviously a connection, and even Massachusetts State Police, Norfolk District Attorney's Office, Canton Police, they all think it's connected to. All right, so the lead investigator for the above investigation is Trooper Michael Proctor of the Massachusetts State Police, assigned to the Norfolk District Attorney's Unit. Trooper Proctor testified before the grand jury and continues to conduct investigative work on this case. Michael Proctor is married to Elizabeth Proctor. Elizabeth is not a witness to the investigation, but a family member, as mentioned in the statute. So she is also a witness under, or a family member of the witness. So that is included. She's also protected under the statute because she's a family member of a witness, and he can't talk to her either, apparently. Number 3, during the investigation into O'Keefe's unaliving, witnesses were identified, interviewed, and testified before the grand jury. These civilian witnesses were present when O'Keefe and Reed, with O'Keefe and Reed in the hours leading up to O'Keefe's ending and his discovery on January 29th. The witnesses include Matthew McCabe, interviewed by investigators. Matthew was with O'Keefe and Reed at the Waterfall restaurant before O'Keefe's unaliving, observed an SUV believed to be Reed's in front of the house, and testified at the grand jury. B. Jennifer McCabe, interviewed by investigators. Jennifer was with O'Keefe and Reed at the Waterfall and observed the SUV believed to be Reed's in the front, and she also testified to that at the grand jury. She was also with Reed when O'Keefe was found unresponsive. Brian Albert is another witness interviewed by investigators. Brian was with O'Keefe and Reed at the Waterfall bar. However, homeowner. He's the homeowner of 34 Fairview and testified at the grand jury. Julie Albert, the wife of Chris. So remember, Chris and Brian are brothers, and Julie, they're in-laws, and Julie Albert is married to Chris, who owns the pizza place. So Julie is interviewed by investigators. Julie was with O'Keefe and Reed at the Waterfall restaurant before O'Keefe's death and testified at the grand jury. Chris Albert, the husband of Julie, first interviewed by investigators on February 10th. So look at how much time passed from January 29th to February 10th. That's the first time that they even interviewed Chris Albert. Wow. All right. Chris was with O'Keefe and Reed at the Waterfall restaurant before O'Keefe's unaliving and testified at the grand jury. Colin Albert was there. Look at that. Interviewed by investigators, son of Chris and Julie Albert. So he was it, but wait, that's all it says. Interviewed by investigators, son of Chris and Julie. Where's the rest? Like, what else about him? What did he say? When did he leave? What did he see? I'm so confused. Are you guys? Like, everything else has an explanation. This is what they saw. Like, a little, like, even if it said, like, left 34 Fairview at 12 o'clock before anybody arrived there. I don't know. You know, like, they didn't even say anything. So that makes me think that he was in the house, which Aiden has been screaming from the rooftops that Colin was in the house. So Juliana Nagel, she's another witness, and she was interviewed by investigators. She was present um, when people were arriving from the Waterfall Bar and observed an SUV parked in the front of the house, but that's really all she knows. And that Juliana Nagel was the friend of Brian Albert Jr., and she was picked up by her brother. Remember, she was going to, she wanted the drive home, and then she changed her mind, said she was going to stay over, and then she got a ride home an hour later, which makes no sense to me. All right, so number 4, in an April 2023 motion filed by Reed's defense attorneys, defendant motion for order pursuant to Mass R. Crim P. 17 directed to Brian Albert Verizon and AT&T alleged police misconduct and a conspiracy among the civilian witnesses to frame Reed for the unaliving of O'Keefe. The motion calls Brian Albert a, quote, suspect and Jennifer McCabe a, quote, conspirator who, quote, took calculated steps to purge her phone of this inculpatory, end quote, evidence. So, what does that mean? That's okay. I don't know what they're trying to say there. Number 5, a local blogger, Aiden Carney, has adopted defense's claims. Carney runs a series of websites and social media accounts under the name Turtleboy. The social media account includes Turtleboy Daily News, Twitter, Aiden. He's got all these different names. Turtle Writers are the subscribers' names. So his subscriptions or subscribers have really risen on YouTube since he started doing coverage on the Reed case. So beginning in April, Carney began posting articles to his website and social media where he adopts the defense allegations as true and makes personal attacks on the civilian witnesses, members of their families, and their friends. He's never made personal attacks, but he does agree with the defense's theory of the case. So, okay. Carney authors and publishes a blog on the website tbdailynews.com. The website has a series of articles entitled Canton Cover-Up as of September 28th, 2023. At least 164 articles have been posted to date, which I find hilarious because he's on 200 something now. He's well into the 200s. So Carney posts weekly videos to YouTube where he has discussed Karen Reed and made statements regarding witnesses. Below are a small selection of verbal statements made by Carney in those videos that have been published to followers and are publicly available for viewing without being a subscriber or follower and have been archived by investigators. Hoo 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 hoo. Dun 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 dun. It's like they try to be so serious and ominous. It's like this is free speech. He can say what he wants. Like I don't condone everything that he does or says, but it's still covered under free speech. I don't care. The statute that they have is illegal. First of all, that you can't picket or quote unquote talk about the case to another witness, but really you're just, disagreeing with the Commonwealth side. So that's why they don't want you to talk. So he posts weekly. Here's Here's the small section. Episode 594, Turtleboy returns to Canton. Video posted shortly after Carney visited homes of witnesses. He says, "This is not my last trip to Canton. I will be back. I'll be back. Get used to it. These people think I'm effing around and you haven't seen the last of me. Get used to it. Get used to it." And if anybody watches his show, that's how he is. Like, he riles people up. He's a, not rile people up, but he gets people excited. He just, he's passionate. He's excited about what he's talking about. So, taken out of context, I can see that that looks bad, but I know for a fact, like, he was ramped up from the rolling rally. He was excited and he was like, I'm here. Like, I'm not going anywhere. These rolling rallies, these protests are going to keep going, and that's what I believe he was referring to. And that's why they want to stop him, because he's drawing too much attention to all the mistakes in their case, and they don't want that. So breaking the next episode, 598, breaking, Karen Reed defense files motion to recuse. So he says this guy, Chris Albert, has his head on a swivel looking for turtle writers. I got bad news for you, Chris. I got real bad news for you. They are literally everywhere. You guys should just stop going out in public. It's only going to get worse from here. I know where y'all were today. You were in Agawam, weren't you? You guys were at some sort of little league thing in Agawam. Alberts, McCabe's, all you people were there. Just know that there will be no life as normal. Life as normal is over. Life as normal. You had normal for a while there, from January 29th to about April 2023. You guys literally got away with ending someone. And then, while discussing video of Chris Albert being confronted outside of a Canton restaurant, Carney and his audience are getting to them, Chris and the other witnesses. When you act this way, that's like a green light for me. Time to hit the gas. And then, I got pictures of you. You can't leave the effing country. Turtle Riders, we're going to find you. They're going to find you. You can't hide anywhere. Your private life is finally over. You leave your house. You're going to have your picture taken, so you need to get used to the new normal, your new normal. Turtle Riders are going to take pictures of you, and they're going to send it to me. You're famous. Sorry, that made me laugh. And yes, I'm a snorter. That made me laugh. So we need to accelerate it. The woman who recorded video of Chris Albert confrontation are doing a fantastic job with this. So, backing up slightly to discuss the quotes. What had happened in the situation where he's talking about Chris Albert and life is as normal is over. He was at a bar or someplace in town locally, and he was out to eat or with some friends hanging out, and someone there wearing a free Karen Reed shirt saw him and took pictures of him and was staring at him, or he was staring at her. He was staring at her and being like negative towards her, and she was taking pictures of him or something, and he didn't like it and he left or whatever. He got like they got into it, but the thing is, like, he got mad because now he's recognized. Now people know who they are, and people in town are going to wonder, are you the people that are walking free but really should be behind bars because of what happened to John O'Keefe that night? Whatever happened to him, we know a car didn't do it. Car didn't cause those lacerations on his arm. Yeah, so I know, and like, green lights mean time to hit the gas. That just means like he's getting excited. He's ramping up his excitement and his passion for this movement, which is not illegal. It's not illegal. I don't know how much more I can emphasize that. So how the hell are they getting them on when this came out? I'm so furious. I'm still furious just reading through it. I hate injustice. I hate when people's rights are being taken away incorrectly or improperly or it just period, but especially, when there's corruption and things going on. So I know we're right now we're at the hour mark and we really haven't gotten much into the document. So I'm going to go just a little bit longer. I do want to take a break here because it's lunchtime for me and I need to get some lunch in me. So anyways, I'll read a little bit more. Colin Albert drops out of school. Brian Higgins flipping. Is the end near? That was the name of his episode. And then I said from the beginning, I don't want this to go to trial. How is that witness intimidation? How? Because he has an opinion? That's not witness intimidation, Commonwealth. You guys are fucking idiots. I'm sorry. All right, so number 8. On September 13th, 2023, Carney posted a blog entitled Canton Cover-Up Part 142, Free Karen Reed Billboard Goes Up on Route 1 outside Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. 2 more to follow on his website. The topic of the blog post was about a billboard that read Free Karen Reed with a picture of Karen Reed on it. Carney praised the organizers of the billboard. In the post, Carney wrote, "Thank you to everyone who donated as well. Although millions of people know about the injustice that is happening in Norfolk County, I would bet that over half the population of Norfolk County has never heard of Karen Reed before," and that's probably accurate. That will change because of this 3-pronged billboard blitz. It's really important for people in Norfolk County to know about this story because that is where the jury pool would be chosen from. And I don't think there's anything wrong with making that statement. Like, he can make a statement like that. He has a right to free speech. He has a right to talk about his community. So, moving on. I have more to say, but I'm just going to keep going or we're never going to get through it. Number 9, on June 13th, 2023, Carney broadcast a live YouTube video, which is currently posted on his YouTube page. During the broadcast, Carney displayed phone records of Jennifer McCabe from the day O'Keefe was ended. The records displayed names next to the phone numbers, which appears to be the user of the other phone number. These records had previously been an attachment to an unredacted defense motion filed in Commonwealth versus Reed. During the video broadcast, Carney cold calls the phone numbers without names associated. I'm sorry, it was a very funny episode. In the process, Carney called a work cell phone of Trooper Proctor. Trooper Proctor stated the phone number that made the call was in his voicemail, to leave a number. You've reached, leave a number. And Carney did leave a voicemail or leave a message, and he did. He said, "Hi, Trooper Proctor. This is award-winning journalist Aidan Carney calling. I'm calling to talk to you. I do have some questions about you. I have a lot of questions, actually. For starters, why didn't you tell me, one, before doing the investigation, that you were good friends with the Albert family? Why did you, in your report, say that you were introduced to Chris Albert on February 10th when you have known him for more than a decade prior to that?" That's a great question, Aidan. But apparently this is witness intimidation. I don't know. All right, so why did you lie about what time you towed Karen Reed's car? I want to know the answers to all of these too. Why did you intentionally misspell the names of several key witnesses in your report? And, I'm just wondering about all of those things, and maybe you and I can meet up for coffee. Boy, do I have a lot of questions for you. When you were inside Fairview Road that night, or that morning rather, why did you stay there for 4.5 hours? And what did you guys talk about and do? And why were you descending stairs with John O'Keefe's phone in your pocket? So give me a call back, man. I don't know what that's about. He might have done a show on that, but I don't remember what that was about. If anybody remembers that, please let me know in the comments what that was about. I don't remember. I don't remember either that he was there for 4 hours to talk with the witnesses. But I guess he must have practiced going up and down the stairs with John's phone too. I don't know. So give me a call back, man. We feel like you and I a lot of catching up to, have a lot of catching up to do. I talk about you a lot. I feel like like I know you pretty well at this point. I know which year you graduated from the academy. I know you were out in West Brookfield for a while. I know some people that you know, so give me a call back when you get this. Now I have your number, and everybody watching also has your number. And then he repeats it. So, whatever. She called you again. I don't know. So, bye. Okay. So, I really do. I watched the segment, and I really do believe that he was very shocked when he got the voicemail saying, "This is Sergeant Michael Proctor or Trooper Michael Proctor," and there we go. I'm trying to move myself over there. Uh, so I really think that he was surprised when he was going. He was just calling people, cold calling people down this log of phone numbers, and he happened to get the voicemail that it was Proctor, and I really do believe it was genuine like surprise when he was like, "Oh my gosh, this is Proctor," and so he left his message. I think he was just kind of like, I don't know, like I think he just word vomited a whole bunch of stuff that came out because he was like surprised that that he got Proctor's phone number, and the fact that it's also a it is a work phone number, so who cares that he put it on his live show? Because that's it should be a public number. I'm sure he has business cards and gives it out to people to witnesses that call him about cases. Anyways, so as a result of the cell phone number being broadcast, Trooper Proctor began to receive random and harassing text messages and voicemails. In the 12 hours following Carney's calls, Trooper Proctor received approximately a dozen text messages. Oh, a dozen. Sorry, buddy. Like, that's not a lot. I mean, yeah, you're getting a few, but that's not like a dozen, really. And you're a public servant. So it's okay that your phone number is public. It probably should be. So anyways, Proctor received approximately a dozen text messages, phone calls, and voicemails. So a handful of a couple of them, but altogether totaling up to 12. The content of the calls and messages pertained Trooper Proctor's alleged involvement in the conspiracy and called for his termination. Trooper Proctor had to change his work cell phone number to avoid the constant unwanted calls and texts. Whatever. Michael Proctor is married to Elizabeth Proctor. Beginning in April 2023, Carney wrote blog posts about Elizabeth Proctor. On May 9th, 2023, Carney authored a post about Elizabeth. A video is attached to the post. The video depicts a cell phone screen of an Apple iPhone. The user of the cell phone dials the cell phone number of Elizabeth, which is displayed on the screen. Carney further writes, quote, I can think of two people who deserve to lose their jobs over this alleged conspiracy against Reed, though. Michael Proctor and Elizabeth Proctor. These two lowlifes think they are untouchable. They're nothing but bullies who terrorize people for years, but now they've met their match. Okay. While it's not a great statement, he has a right to say it. He said it. It's okay. Like, it's okay to say things based on freedom of speech. And because he is a journalist, he has even more freedoms of, getting sources. And, well, apparently not in Massachusetts. Journalists don't have protection over their sources. And you can see through various various actions that were taken that, they were trying to get his phones, other people's phones, to try to intercept communications, to get his laptop, his cell phone, and later Karen's phone by, trying to see that there's some conspiracy between the two of them now, that they've been talking this whole time. So it's so stupid and ridiculous. And even if they have been talking, it's not a crime. None of the things that they're stating here are crimes, but there are actual crimes that have been occurring with people on the other side that have been threatening Aiden and whatnot. So it's been I'm starting to get dried, so it's that time to probably close this off real soon, but I want to get further. Anyways, yeah, so video. Um, he had on May 9th. All right, so Carney video is attached to the post. He had some video that was about Elizabeth Proctor. Oh, that was the video, the wanting them to lose their jobs or whatever, which I don't condone. I don't think, anybody should be trying to, I hate the cancel culture. I absolutely hate it. Everybody's guilty in the court, of public opinion. And I can't stand that. And that's another reason why I like cases like this. Because everybody in the court of public opinion thinks that Karen and Turtleboy are guilty if you listen to the mainstream media and some of the BS that they're trying to spew, based on what the Commonwealth is telling them. So, again, even though this quote that he said isn't like a great quote, I'll admit, it still is protected. It's protected speech. Number 12. In the post, Carney states Elizabeth works as a human resources manager at Instron and posts the main phone number for the company. The post then states, but you're probably not going to reach anyone that way, so feel free to leave a review on their wide open Facebook page or their Twitter account. Again, not illegal. I mean, I don't condone that kind of behavior. I really don't. And I would never try to do that, to try to get someone fired because, some scandal broke about them or something. I would never do that. But the fact that he's doing it is still protected. All right, so 13, on May 10th, 2023, Carney broadcasts a live YouTube video, which is currently posted on his YouTube page. During broadcast, Carney talks about Elizabeth. He stated he was going to call her. He repeated her cell phone number on the broadcast, and he was entering the number into a cell phone. I don't want to dox people either. I'm posting public court documents at this point. I'm sure all these people have changed their names or numbers if they haven't, and names potentially. They're on the lam. But no, these are public court documents, and I don't redact everything, especially like unless I know that it's private information. I would redact it, but I'm thinking at this point the state put it in their own filings after Aiden put it out there, so they're basically doxing her too. So the call went to voicemail when he called Elizabeth, and this is the statement that he left in the message. Hi Elizabeth, this is Aiden Carney calling you back from Turtleboy. So calling her back. So she called him apparently. We briefly spoke yesterday on the phone. I introduced myself to you and then you hung up on me, or maybe it was a bad connection, but I just wanted to see how your day at work went today, if it went well. I noticed that your employer took down their social media pages within minutes of the blog that I published about your recent behavior, and I just wanted to see is it awkward? Were you afraid to go in? Just tell me about your day and why, because that's the part I don't understand is that you seem to be okay with calling other people's workplaces and interfering with their ability to make a living for themselves, because she apparently did this to somebody else. So I don't get into all this drama, and I don't want my channel to be a drama channel, but I'm reading it because it's in a court document. So there you have it. And it's just happens to be dramatic. So she was doing it to other people, and but when it happens to you, maybe it's not as fun. Maybe it's not as fun. Do you like that? That's what I want to know. Do you like that? Because you've been doing that a lot of other people, and do you think it's fair that it happened to you, dear? Do you regret it? Do you regret it? And what's your scumbag husband up to right now? Are you going to visit him in prison? Do you think they'll have conjugal visits? Give me a call back when you get this and we can chat some more. Bye, girl. Bye, girl. Sorry. I'm a snorter and I admit it. All right. That was funny. Bye, girl. Coming from Turtleboy. Yeah. So, I mean, turnabout is fair play. Don't do something if you don't want it done back on yourself. I don't know. I mean, it's only common sense. That's what we're taught since we were children, right? Our parents taught us that, but why did people not live by that? I don't know. So anyways, regardless, still he has every right to call her husband a scumbag. He has every right to say, is your husband going to prison? Are you going to visit him? All these things. He has every right. Every right. And I'll have you know that he only called or spoke with, I think he spoke with Elizabeth twice and that was it. And it's not like he was harassing these people. He never like went out of his way and harassed them in a pattern. It wasn't like he repeatedly called them and hung up on them and did things. Like this was not, it was funny for the show. I don't, again, I'm not saying I condone it, but it was entertaining to kind of watch. But I anyways, it's still not illegal regardless. Following the phone calls, Carney accessed the social media accounts of Instron and laughed as he stated the pages were taken down and stated the Turtleboy effect. Oh God. Michael and Elizabeth Proctor stated that they felt harassed by the acts of Carney. 15 on Monday, September 25th at 6:20. But again, remember, um, so Proctor, the Alberts, none of them, the McCabe's, none of them could get a restraining order or protective order against Turtleboy. So then they had to do these charges because the things that they were doing, the things that Turtleboy was doing, didn't never constituted to harassment or intimidation, and would never have made it. They never made it to court for a hearing with a judge for a restraining order or a protective order against him because they all got thrown out because there was nothing to them. There was no basis. So instead, they're going to weaponize the some stupid statute that doesn't even make sense, and it's quite frankly illegal because you can't deny someone's right to protest. It's in the Constitution, so I don't know. Whatever. I don't know if Canton has seen the Constitution or not. So following the phone call, Kearney accessed the social media. Oh yeah, the Turtleboy effect. Both Michael and Elizabeth felt harassed. On Monday, September 25th, a Facebook account believed to be used by Carney, Clarence Woods Emerson, posted the following message, quote, anyone in Canton want to take a couple pictures of me? DM me, please. At 6:53 p.m., the Facebook post was edited with the phrase, update all set, thanks. So? Because he was in Canton? You guys are saying that that what? That has nothing to do with witness intimidation. I'm so confused. Because he wanted someone to take pictures of him. What is this motion, Commonwealth? Okay, so 16 on September 25th, 2023 at 8:04 p.m., an X account, formerly Twitter, associated with Carney posted the message and photographed. The photograph depicts the front of 6 Wentworth Road, Canton, home of Michael and Elizabeth Proctor. Well, there you go. He just ducks them right there. The white Jeep Wrangler in the photograph belongs to Jennifer McCabe. So somebody, a turtle writer, actually noticed that Jen McCabe's car, it's a very poor picture. They noticed that Jen McCabe's car happened to be parked outside the Proctor residence, and it was there for a couple hours, I think. But it was like at night in the dark. So today at 6 p.m., Jen McCabe's Jeep was seen parked outside the Proctor household. Sorry, I got a fuzz or dog hair on my face. That's going away. We ran the plates on all 3 cars. They're registered to Michael and Elizabeth Proctor and Matt McCabe. So Matt McCabe's car was there, or, Jen McCabe's car was there. Point blank, without a doubt. And at Chief Rafferty and the DA's office said that they don't know each other. Yeah, remember Morrissey's statement? They don't know each other, and they have never known each other. But we got Jen McCabe parked out outside of Trooper Proctor's house right there. This one, you can barely see it, but this is Jen right there. So a turtle writer took a picture of Jen outside standing next to her car, and then there's the white Jeep is Jen's car, I think. All right, so 17, the following day, Carney broadcast a YouTube video at the 19-minute mark. Carney stated he, quote, ran the plates of the vehicles depicted in the photograph. Carney showed photographs of 3 vehicles parked at the address. He showed photographs of each vehicle and stated the registered owners of the vehicles by name, Michael and Elizabeth Proctor. The term ran in regards to a motor vehicle registration is commonly used in law enforcement. The term means the information was queried through law enforcement databases for the purposes of obtaining information. Carney used the information in a blog post entitled Cover-Up Canton Cover-Up Part 161. Jen McCabe was seen at the Proctor's house at 6 p.m. tonight, despite allegedly not knowing them. Again, I say, so what? Just because he says that someone ran them doesn't mean that you used a law enforcement database. You can do Google searches and you can find some things on like DMV sites, and you can find information about people sometimes through DMV records. So it doesn't necessarily mean that he didn't do anything illegal, and it's not illegal to go about and find whatever. But I guess the person who did run them, who did run the plates, also was investigated and is being charged with witness intimidation now, and she is also fighting for her rights with the Canton or the Norfolk District Attorney's Office here. So 18, information maintained by the Massachusetts Registry of Motor Vehicles is accessible to law enforcement through the Criminal Justice Information Service. Authorized individuals have personalized access to the CJIS logins and accounts. Recertification standards, which include lessons and tests, continually assert that CJIS users are trained to the standards and do not disseminate protected private information unless for a legitimate law enforcement purpose as described in Massachusetts Code of Massachusetts Regulation 803 whatever. So what? Okay, but is it not legitimate law enforcement purposes if you're trying to, well, I guess it's not legitimate if you're trying to prove cover-up or corruption in your town. I guess it's not legitimate law enforcement purposes. when the law enforcement are the ones that you're trying to expose. It's not right, according to them. You can't use it. All right, so on Tuesday, September 26, 2022, Lieutenant John Fanning of the Massachusetts State Police conducted a CJIS audit to determine if any CJIS users queried the following Massachusetts registrations. And those are the license plates of everyone. The audit produced results indicating that all three vehicles were queried by Janelle Webb's CJIS account. So they investigated it and found out she did it. And then it was she was employed by Avon Police Department as a civilian dispatcher, but she, I believe, is no longer employed by them after this incident. And she is also fighting witness intimidation charges, which is so unfair. All right, 20. On Wednesday, September 27th, 2023, Lieutenant Fanning and Sergeant Yuri Buchanan interviewed Webb at the Avon Police Department. Webb stated she has been employed as a dispatcher at Avon PD for 3 years. She's working on Monday, September 25th from 4 to midnight. Webb stated she communicates on Facebook Messenger with the account Clarence Woods Emerson, which she believes is used by Carney. She states that she sent Carney information prior to September 25th and has seen the same information used by Carney on his blog. Webb provided her cell phone to investigators. Oh my God, she shouldn't have done that. Not without a warrant. Never turn anything over without a warrant. Because you have a right to your own things and they don't have a right to take it. Anyways, Webb provided her cell phone to investigators. Investigators observed communication between Webb and Clarence Woods Emerson on Facebook Messenger on the cell phone. On September 25th at 6:18 p.m., Webb sends the message, "What you got? I'm here till 8 a.m. Clarence responds with, "Sorry, H500, the registration of McCabe's Jeep." After several messages back and forth, Webb sends the message, "Matt McCabe," to which Clarence responds, "Got him." They're just mad that we got him. That's all this is. And, quote, it's parked at Michael Proctor's house as we speak, end quote. And thanks, this is huge. So Webb responds with this message, "Again, please keep me private. I don't anticipate effing up in life and never want the wrath of you." At 7 p.m., Clarence sends the message, "Of course, any chance you could run 2 more?" Webb replied, "Sure." Clarence sent pictures of 2 vehicles parked in the driveway of 6 Wentworth Road. Webb sent Clarence 80D is Proctor. Clarence asks 774 TF7, "Is that Lizzie?" To which Webb replies, "Yep, Lizzie," meaning Elizabeth Proctor. Webb stated that she had read Turtleboy's blog posts in the past and had been following his media regarding Karen Reed closely. A check of Webb's Facebook account information publicly available revealed she is friends with Clarence Woods Emerson. Webb has numerous posts and comments on content on Facebook supporting Karen Reed's innocence and copying Carney's claims of police cover-up. So what? Okay. She believes that Karen didn't do it. So do I. So do a lot of people. And she follows him, and she thinks there's a cover-up too. So what? None of this is criminal. On a YouTube video posted on October 2nd, 2023, Carney acknowledged it is illegal to obtain information about the registered owner of a vehicle and discussed why it should be legal. I don't know that or remember that. 24. I interviewed Jennifer McCabe regarding the incident. She stated she had never met Elizabeth Proctor or Michael Proctor prior to September 2023. Since the first meeting several weeks ago, Jennifer and Elizabeth have communicated regarding the constant harassment, intimidation, and public attacks. Jennifer stated they bonded over sharing the ongoing experience. Bull. She traveled to Elizabeth's house to discuss harassment. 25. Based on the foregoing facts, there's probable cause to believe that Aiden Kearney committed a violation of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapters 268, Section 13b, Witness Interference, Michael Proctor and Elizabeth Proctor, which reads, whoever willfully, either directly or indirectly, 1. Threatens, attempts, or causes physical, emotional, or economic injury or property damage to 2. Conveys a gift, offer, or promise of anything of value to, or 3. Misleads, intimidates, or harasses another person who is a witness or potential witness, B. Person who is or was aware of information, records, documents, or objects that relate to a violation of criminal law or a violation of conditions of probation, parole, bail, or other court order. C. Judge, juror, grand juror, attorney, victim, witness, advocate, police officer, corrections officer, federal agent, investigator, clerk, court officer, court reporter, court interpreter, probation officer, or parole officer. D. Person who is or was attending, or a person who had made known an intention to attend a proceeding described in this section. Or E. Family member of a person described in this section. So there's that family member. So Elizabeth Proctor, so she's not a witness in this case, but she's a family member of a witness because she's married to Trooper Proctor. With the intent to or with reckless regard for the fact that it may 1. Impede, obstruct, delay, prevent, or otherwise interfere with a criminal investigation at any stage, a grand jury proceeding, a dangerousness hearing, a motion hearing, a trial or other criminal proceeding or any type or a parole hearing, parole violation proceeding, or probation violation proceeding, or an administrative hearing or a probate or family court proceeding, juvenile proceeding, housing proceeding, land proceeding, clerk's hearing, court ordered mediation, or any other civil proceeding of any kind. So, wow, there's a lot of different kinds of proceedings that I don't know what all those are. 2. Punish, harm, or otherwise retaliate against any such person described in this section for such person or such person's family members' participation in any of the proceedings described in this section shall be punished by imprisonment in the state prison for not more than 10 years or by imprisonment in the house of correction for not more than 2.5 years or a fine of not less than $1,000 or more than $5,000 or by both such fine and imprisonment. If the proceeding in which the conduct is directed at the investigation or prosecution of a crime punishable by life imprisonment or the parole of a person convicted of a crime punishable by life imprisonment, such person shall be punished by imprisonment in the state prison for no more than 20 years or by imprisonment in the house of corrections for no more than 2.5 and a fine of 10,000, no more than 10,000, or both a fine and imprisonment. So that's a lot covered there. And I'm sure they can argue one way or some way or another that Aiden was doing this, but that makes the people involved, it means they have to be witnesses and not suspects in the case. And they were never treated as suspects, and they should have been. And they were never cleared either. They were never interviewed as a suspect should be. They should have been looked at further because they were there. So the fact that they're trying to get him on this is just ridiculous. And family members is ridiculous. This whole thing, I do know that Aiden's attorney, Tim Bradle, has taken it upon himself to review this statute and has decided that it is um, against our First Amendment rights and it's unconstitutional, and they are weaponizing uh, their statutes to basically shut up a journalist who is uncovering things about them that they don't want uncovered. Continuing on, based upon the foregoing facts, there is probable cause to believe that Aiden Carney committed a violation of that law that we just talked about, conspiracy to commit intimidation of a witness by entering into an agreement with Janelle Webb to obtain sensitive information to be used in blog posts and videos intended to harass, intimidate, and cause emotional harm. Give me a break, Brian Tully. Dumbass. Sorry, but he is. All right, given the continuing harassment of witness for the murder of John O'Keefe, I respectfully request an arrest warrant be issued. So, backing up, one thing I wanted to say was, so they have him on currently, well, remember it was just the 8 counts. They started with the 8 counts and then they upped the charges to 16 counts, and this included federal charges as well. So, all those counts, you're going to get that punishment for 1 count. So 16 counts times 10. That's what they're trying to get him for. Seriously. This is what they're doing with their time, and not going after the person whose Ford Edge was on the lawn of 34 Fairview Road. Instead of finding justice for John O'Keefe, they're sitting here trying to put Turtleboy away and coming up, trying to weaponize their own statutes and laws that are unconstitutional to quiet someone that contends what they say, someone that speaks up against what they say, and it speaks volumes to me. The lengths that they are going to keep him quiet. The amount of times that they've tried to turn his phone off or take his phones away, or his laptop, trying to silence him. It's just amazing the bravado that law enforcement has there, the district attorneys, everyone there. It is amazing how ballsy they are to think that they can just do all this stuff and get away with it. Do they not know that the nation is watching them? Not just the nation, but the feds are watching them very closely, and they are closing in. And I know that's got them sweating, and it has to be one of the reasons too why they are fighting so hard to shut up Turtleboy. What do you guys think? I would love to know your opinions. Please like this video. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this whole thing about Turtleboy being imprisoned. Is he wrongfully imprisoned? Do you think that he deserved it? What do you think? Let me know. Just another word of just a little housekeeping. I don't allow trolls on my page. So going forward, we're going to be in a respectful and a respectful, kind environment where we can have engaging conversations with one another and not rip each other's throats apart and call each other's names and things like that. So if you call someone names, if you call me a name, if you are trolling in any way, just being rude and trying to, start shit in the chat, I will delete you. I will remove you. I just want everybody to know that. There have been some issues already that I've had to do. It's not usually on these Canton videos, but I know if any of the Commonwealth loving people over there get a hold of my channel and see the videos I'm doing, they'll start harassing me too. So I'm just forewarning everyone, I don't deal with trolls. You guys shouldn't engage with trolls. It's not fair to you on the chat either. So just know that I will have that taken care of. All right, so with that being said, I want to let you guys go. This turned out being a lot longer than I thought, but I really wanted to get into more of it. Next time, we're going to do a part two, and we're going to get more into what the charging documents talk about. So we just went through the statement of facts. This is all pretty much um, the same thing that we just read. That's Brian Tully. Why is it? Oh, this is all the different charges for Christopher for Albert. I was confused. This page or this document is several pages long, and it's because of um, basically everything that I said. Everything that we just read is repeated on every other page, but the person who's being charged is different. So we might keep going through it because some of the quotes might be different. So I'll review it a little bit more before I do part two. We're gonna do a part two, and there's more documents to come. So and more to dive into with Turtleboy. I want to go through. Like I said, I want to add information about this case about Turtleboy in his own words. So I went through his blogs and I took a bunch of blogs that I thought were relevant. We're going to go through them. We're going to see from his words, his point of view, what happened in everything that, we went through the timeline of everything. Now we're going to go through it in his words and court documents if we can find the court documents for them because not all of them are publicly available right now that I know of, or at least I can't find them all. So, with that, I'm going to let you guys go for real now, and I hope you have a good day. And thank you so much for watching. I'm really grateful for you guys for being here and expressing interest in this case. This is such a crazy case, so crazy. All right, well, have a good one. Thank you.